So today we'll be analyzing the performance of various machine learning algorithms upon Titanic dataset. So here we are doing the same previous steps. We are loading the from sklearn's model selection, train test, split and cross validation score, metrics, mean squared error, confusion metrics, precision score, recall score, and AOC ROC curve, which we have seen previously. And under sklearn, different model sections, we have ensemble, which has random forest classification, linear model, neighbors for k-nearest neighbors, SVM for support vector machines, tree for decision trees, and neural network. And in sklearn, this is small implementation of a neural network algorithm under machine learning. Let's explore that one also. Though we can do much better applications under deep learning, I think this will be a small introduction to neural networks using sklearn. And we have linear model rich and pre-processing polynomial features, which we'll explore later. And then we have from sklearn the same inputs. I think same to same here. I just repeat it once again. Pandas, NumPy, Matplotlib, Seaborn. So we'll just load all the libraries we want now. Okay. Given that there are a lot of libraries, it does take a lot of time, depending on your system speed. If you have a good GPU, it loads like instantaneously, like a 32 GB GPU. So here, basic loading, reading the CSV file, and then just I just want a few visualizations before we get into the next steps. So train original. It's the training data. Same to same thing which we have seen previously for Titanic, where we had done treatment for the NaN values and test original. That's right. Yes, these two. So now I just do a little bit of cleaning. So this is a bit of regex, which you have seen in C++ also. It's almost the same in Python. So there are just a few small modifications we'll do. First one is the salutation. For example, this one is in the first one, name Mr., Mrs., Doctor, Miss, that one. So and we have different salutations here. A cross-tab between gender and salutation. So among female captains, only one male captain, or two male colonels, one female countess, one don, one doctor, six male doctors and one female doctor, John Cure, one male, and so on. So this is just we're just extracting them and putting into the salutation section. And now I just do the same thing for testing. So we here what we are doing is we are mining the feature called salutation from the name, that we can get a better insight into the data. So this thing we haven't done previously, so I just do it off here. What we are doing here is we are first merging them into a single one. For example, there are many salutations like these: lady, countess, captain, doctor, donna, and all, which can be put into one single salutation class for the convenience in machine learning model training and predictions. So just put as where, because there aren't many people under this salutation. If you look at this, the reverend has two, and then we have sir as one, lady as one, and countess is one. Similarly, whereas the other ones, I think this is spelling mistake. So MLLE replaces miss, MS as miss, and MME, another spelling mistake as MRS. So I just prepared this one and look at this. So between salutation and the next one. So we have 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, the simple data processing steps. That's it. We'll just do it for test also. Next step is like deleting the column that is not being used in the models. So if you remember the Titanic dataset, I'll just show you the columns. Dot head. So by looking at this, can you tell me which columns are not going to be useful in our model prediction? Since we have extracted the salutation from the name, we can easily drop the name column because we already have its main feature. So that's one thing. We can drop the name also along with passenger ID and fare. But fare has been considered here because assuming the people who are paid more would most likely belong to a higher class in society, and they have a higher chance of surviving a Titanic disaster. So that's one generalization. And ticket can be removed because these type of numbers make no sense at all. So similarly, passenger ID, name, ID, and ticket have been removed. Cabin, because this one involves extensive treatment of NaN values, which you have done previously. And in this one, we're just illustrating the use of ML algorithms and dropped cabin also. But when you're doing it in the professional purpose or any competitive purpose, I'd suggest that you retain cabin. If you remember the technique of treatment we have done for cabin previously, apply that here, encode the cabins, and then pass it on to the future steps. So this is the cleaning of data which you have done here. Define the train and test data sets, and then we move on. So let's detect and fill the missing data. So dataframe.isnal.com. Yeah. So we have 177 blanks in age, whereas the others are pretty good in train. So there are two columns that are missing data, which is age and embarked. And then here is like we have defined our own function for replacing age, which is like just replace the age with the median value. So based the salutation, we have filled age here. If you notice the salutations here, there are 4 different salutations we have. So we are iterating through one between 1 and 4. So people with salutations say mm, colonel, they will be of a higher age, say 50 plus, and master as 35, 40 plus, and so on. And miss as a lady whose age is below 25. So basis this, we are using a different technique of filling the age. But you can always go with the technique that you feel is the best for the data after doing a thorough analysis upon it. So we just apply this function upon the data set and we have filled the missing values. And unfortunately, we have embarked as null also. Embarked from which place? If you notice, there are three. We have noticed that there are 3 different ports from which the passengers have embarked from in our previous exercise with Titanic dataset. So you're just seeing the ones which are null. So what we can do is, since C is the most frequent one in embarked, we are replacing the NaN values in embarked with C. So same thing, let's do it for testing dataset. So we have 1 in H and 1 in fair. So just see the top, first 5 elements which are null in test. So age is completely null. So let us just do the treatment for age under testing one. Same function is being applied upon the test dataset and check if it is null or not. For fair, so we have row number 152, which is fair as null. So here what we're doing is just defining a tiny function to illustrate how functions can be used in the upon pandas data frames. So get the median of the pair, which is third class, which is this. Embarked is at S, and get it. So for everyone who are in third class, embarked from a port named S, get the median of their pairs. And in the end, replace the NaN values under this condition, P class 3 and embarked S, and return the dataset. So here we have filled up the test. So now let's do the same thing for the missing data. Just recheck if it's null any in training data and in testing data. This all these functions we have placed it before. What we are now doing is we are discretizing the age feature, basically putting them into 4 categories. Anybody who is with less than the age 9 is under category 0. Between 9 and 19 is 1. 1929 is 2, and 2939 is 3. So it just this one is repeated, and anyone greater than 39 is 4. So one thing I noticed that back in those days, there are a large volume of people who are less than 40 and a small number greater than 40, which is why we are discretizing the data set this way, age into different categories. So just done it, and same thing discretize the fare from 1 cent, so not even 1 cent, to $7.75, so and so. And here you're using pandas QCut. So we're cutting it pair into 8 different categories. That's what this one does. What it does is it analyzes the pairs, places them in a continuous linear chart. Like how you have a basic scale, right? Which you used back in school, a 15 centimeter scale. So what a pandas QCut does is it places them along the axis of a square scale and divides them into 8 equal portions. So based on the value count. So this is how it what it does. So I just give you a nice description for this. So quantile-based discretization function, it discretize variable into equal sized buckets based on rank or based on simple sample quantiles. So that is what it does. It's like a complex definition. So same thing for pair into 8 portions: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it repeated the same operation which you've done for age here and factorize the two for gender and embarked. So pandas factorize does nothing but if you look, yeah, encode the object basically. Simple way of encoding the object into different categories. Like if you are explore label encoding and then one hot encoding and pandas get dummies. Pandas factorize does something similar, but I prefer most of the time label encoding because you can even pass your own predefined dictionary into it and get the encodings out. Just look at this. Okay, so it's yeah already performed the encoding upon the embarked also into 0, 1, and 2. So from port number 0, 46 people have embarked, port number 2, 102, and port number 1, 270. So this one returns the results in a descending order, the value counts function. So now we're getting into the correlations. So by default, it goes into a Pearson's correlation. So data frame that code always goes into a Pearson's format. So this one doesn't look that great. It looks too big. I just lower its size. 7, comma 7. Okay, now it's better. Let me just expand it. Okay, so here is a scale of the correlations. Some of them have negative correlation, which is why you see values below 0. So I think this is good to go. So now just go for splitting the data. X is since survived is like the target variable. The dependent one will let's remove it from the set of independent variables and define the dependent variable y as survived. Do our train test split with test size 75 and 25, 75 for training and 25 for testing. And here we have a few machine learning algorithms defined in a list. So what I have done is I have taken out all the possible machine learning algorithms out there in the sklearn package and place them under a list. So if you remember Ensemble, the most popular one is random forest. But along with it, you have boosting of and add a boost classifier, which we'll explore under the boosting algorithms. Backend classifier, extra trees classifier, gradient boosting classifier. And then under Gaussian, we have Gaussian process classifier. And then you have logistic regression, which we have seen before. But this is CV along with cross validation, passive accuracy classifier, rich classifier, SGD classifier, stochastic gradient descent classifier, and perceptron. All the machine learning algorithms available under the package of sklearn. In this one, we will just train the Titanic dataset upon all the algorithms available and see which one is the best performing for this dataset. This will be quite easy to understand for you because it involves the Bayesian probability formula which I've come across in school and college. And there's the k nearest neighbors classifier. It's a popular classification algorithm based on the count of neighbors, which we will see next. This is the most popular algorithm. Support vector machines, which you have already seen. And there's another new support vector machine and linear SVC. You have seen these two, SVC and linear SVC. So linear SVC is basically SVM with slightly modified with the base algorithm being the linear algorithm. So decision tree classifier is here. Under tree, you have extra tree also, but I didn't want this one to be included in the list, so I commented it out. So just run this one, and yeah. So here we are just defining the columns and then iterating through each and every algorithm under this list and printing the results. So you can have a good look at the contents of the loop with just fitting the algorithm first here, and then taking that algorithm and predicting the outcome. And then we're getting the ROC curve, false positive, true positive, and pH thresholds. An algorithm name we are taking here, and then we are putting in the algorithm names and their accuracy, thresholding accuracy, precision, recall, and area under the curve into a table. So now we're going to sort the data frame which you have generated here basis the test accuracy in descending order, because if passing ascending is false, right? So sort values function always assumes ascending is equal to true, which means it sorts all the values in ascending order. But here we want it in descending order. So we're putting ascending is equal to false and then printing the results. So this is the final outcome where when which you are predicting whether the person has survived or not. So test accuracy is upon the data it has never seen before, and precision call and AUC are actually really good metrics. So I'd rather see recall because they recall values, right? For true positives that really less. For example, if you look at the passive aggressive classifier, it's at 13.13. The ones are for the Bernoulli knife-based algorithm, and then the other one is the Gaussian knife-based algorithm, stochastic gradient descent classifier. Yeah, only these ones have a good recall value, whereas the test accuracy logistic regression reigns highest and add a boost with 0.793. So it's actually a tough call, but looking at the results, right? For example, you saw Gaussian knife-based is 78% in test accuracy and 70% in recall. So this is actually good. And you also have add a boost with these values. Precision is 0.81, whereas recall is 0.66, but area under the curve is 0.77. So it's a good fight battle between logistic regression, add a boost, and Gaussian naive Bayes as to which one is the best algorithm. Probably running a grid search upon one of these will get the best one possible. So now we're just plotting the accuracy in a chart, basic visualization using the Seaborn. So okay, so in this chart, which one do you think has the highest train accuracy? The extra trees comes under ensemble. If I'm right, ensemble, yes, here. So it's pretty similar to that of the random forest algorithm. Okay, let's also see the random forest result, because decision tree is also quite good as extra tree, and random forest is slightly lesser than decision tree in this data set. So decision tree, extra tree, and bagging are performed the best under training accuracy. So we just see the test accuracy comparisons now. So test accuracy, all of them are pretty much the same. But what you have done is you have already sorted in descending order, highest to the lowest. So logistic regression reigns highest with almost 80%, followed by add a boost. And the rest are in the same range between 75 to 80. Till perceptron. Perceptron is nothing but the neural network multi-layer perceptron classifier. And you have passive aggressive classifier whose accuracy is off the charts. It's around 65% here. So let's do the precision comparison of the different algorithms. In terms of precision, can you tell me the best algorithm out there? There's SVC is there and Gaussian process classifier. So support vector classification and Gaussian based classification are for giving the best precision values. Similarly, let's do for the recall. Okay. Under recall, which algorithm is the best? We have SGD here, which is stochastic gradient descent, and Bernoulli knife Bayes, which is quite high, along with Gaussian knife Bayes in recall values. So next one is just check the area under the curve. It's the almost descending order. You have logistic regression and SGD being the highest, and passive aggressive has the lowest area under the curve. So what we're doing now is just plot the ROC curve here. So what we have done is we've taken the false positives, true positives, and thresholds, and get the ROC AUC curve for all machine learning algorithms by
loading the AUC for the function. So what it does is it computes the area under the curve using the trapezoidal rule. That is the logic that goes behind the AUC calculation. It's just a function where you put x and y values, which are false positive and true positive in the case of a ROC AC curve. ROC false positives here and true positives here. X-axis false positive, y-axis true positives. So let's just plot this one. This is just name basic PLT plot, label it as so and so, and put in a legend as all the different algorithms. So this one has a legend of all the algorithms for adder boost, bagging, extra trees, and all. So this is the false positive rate on the x-axis and the true positive rate on the y-axis. So higher an algorithm here, the more it tends to the y-axis, right? The better uh, results they're going to give. That means they are the better algorithm and the one you can choose for your future steps. So given the faint nature of this one, I don't think it's a good idea. You can make a solid judgment as to which algorithm performs best. Maybe we can just reduce the number of algorithms used to that as to top n and then do it. But luckily we have specified the AUC value for each algorithm. If you notice the legend, right? 0.78 for adder boost classifier, 0.77 for backing classifier, and so on. So this is already in the descending order from highest to lowest. Here 7.78 and so on. So there's no need to look into this and then make a judgment because it will give most probably give a bad result. So this color and it's somewhere mixed between these values. So an algorithm with an AUC of this one is not the one to be chosen. So because it tends to the x-axis. If you notice the algorithm which tends closest to the x-axis and farthest from the y-axis, it is this one, the gray colored one, right? And correctly it has been placed down here at a value of 0.75 here. So now let's get into a bit of a algorithm tuning. So just try this one. Okay. So what we've done is we are getting the parameters. These are the parameters bootstrap false under the ensemble based extra trees classification which you are seeing. Class weight none. We not specified each class's weight, which this thing is rarely actually explored in machine learning. Criterion is Gini split and max depth none and max features are auto. Max features auto means you choose the number of features in the existing dataset and basis that it generates this. So these are all the same parameters which you have in your random forest algorithm. So extra trees and random forest are pretty much similar, and rightfully they place it under the ensemble-based machine learning algorithms. So here we have this one and fitting the algorithm parameters and then getting the score. So score is 0.92% and test score is 0.78%. 78%. So here let's define the class grid. If you remember the grid search algorithm, so in that we have defined parameters as to what the parameters are going to be in the parameter grid, which once we pass to the grid search algorithm gives the best performing model out, right? So same thing we will do for the here. Let's take the passive aggressive classifier and do the same because this one has the lowest performance. If you notice the passive aggressive here, in all the tests, it was not performing good. So I just run it for this one. This one takes time as grid search does. Oh, it's fast. Okay. So after tuning training data set with this parameter grid, we get an 82% accuracy. And for testing, it's 79% accuracy for the passive aggressive classifier. How is it possible? Is that because it iterated through all the different hyperparameters and gave the best performing model out. So if you look at the previous results, right, it gave a 66% accuracy on training and 61% accuracy on testing, which is a massive increase in to 66 to 82 and 61 to 79, right? So this is what grid search does in terms of influencing the accuracy. So that is it for this session.